Well, welcome to the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. My name is Paul D'Allegro, your host, and my guest today is Rusty Jensen, the CRO of ConnexAI. Welcome to the show, Rusty.
It's good to be here, Paulie. How you doing, sir?
Yes, I'm not even sure where to start because you've got so many things going on. You're the CRO of ConnexAI. We're going to get to that in a few minutes, but you're a sales leader, you're a marketing leader, and you've got your own podcast too.
I do, yeah. I mean, there's just a lot to talk about, a lot of exciting things happening, especially in these times, right?
Yeah.
So with everything that's going on, I mean, there's a ton to talk about, a lot of topics. You can start wherever you'd like.
Okay, we'll start.
And we can jump right in.
Well, we'll start with AI. And I it's kind of like when I say AI, kind of like groan because that's all everyone was talking about. And this reminds me of about 10 to 15 years ago when it was digital transformation. Do you remember that one? And I think back in those days, if you asked someone what digital transformation is, you would get 50 different answers.
Absolutely.
And I kind of feel the same way about AI. Now, your company's in the AI space. We'll get to kind of specifically what you do. But what's your take on this whole AI technology and where it's heading?
You know, it's an interesting trend. I mean, obviously, a lot of the investment, a lot of the hype, a lot of the excitement is all around AI, right? And I think what tends to happen just from like a business cultural standpoint is I think people lock in on particular topics like AI, or they lock in on certain topics like you mentioned before, like digital transformation. And the next thing you know, it's every sales deck, every website, every talking point is all about those topics, because I think that's a lot of where the money is going in terms of investment and strategy. But what I would say, though, with AI itself, though, is the transformative capability that it has is a level of excitement and a level of energy that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, you go through all these different emotions when you learn about AI. There's excitement, there's anticipation of opportunity. You have fear. Some people have real fear and concern about what it can do. It's just hard to sort through all the noise when everywhere you turn, it's just AI. I mean, the other day I was looking at an ad. There's like not just AI companies everywhere. There's like an AI stuffed animal pet, that you can buy. And
that's funny.
Everything seems to be infused, but it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. So, the big thing with AI to me is, how do we understand it? And as from a kind of focus on corporate world, in our personal lives, I guess we can maybe touch on that later. But I think all companies are trying to look, okay, how do we utilize it? What do we use it for? And how do we monetize it? How can we make money using it? I think those are the key issues. You tell me this, you're in that business, so you tell me.
Oh, they're definitely the issues.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, every executive and anyone who's really interacted with AI at any kind of depth can see the potential of what it's actually capable of doing. I mean, we're seeing, a technology that has a human-like intelligence that's able to look at and scan and sort through mounds and mounds and mounds of data, make sense of it, be able to parrot it back in ways that we can easily consume. It can accomplish work far faster than what a person could do. And you can see those optimizations in terms of augmenting and helping humans. You can see those optimizations in terms of being able to actually replace a lot of the monotonous jobs and a lot of the tasks that humans don't really want to do. You see that opportunity. And if I'm an executive and you look at the amount of work that is essentially done, like the work products that are done in a company, and when you look at the body of work products that are repetitive, that are simple, that could be automated and optimized with AI, it's a whole new range and threshold. And I think some executives are seeing the real potential of 30, 50, 60, 70% savings in total cost, and being able to take that type of money and reinvest it back for growth and for opportunity. So people are seeing that, and executives see that vision, and they want it. And they want to get there first. It's just a race.
Yeah.
How do we get there first?
Yeah, you touch on a really good point. And I think the caveat to that, employees, you keep hearing it, well, I'm worried that it's going to take my job. It's going to replace me. And hopefully the net of this is it makes people more productive and the company more productive and more profitable. I'm thinking that's the goal.
That is the goal, and I think that's also the result in practice. I think we have a kind of a unique vantage point at ConnexAI in that we've been at it for over 4 years with real optimized AI. And previous to that, another 9 years of development with automation and contact center capability and things like that. But real like agentic AI agents that do the jobs of humans, we've been developing, building, deploying that for about 4 years. So we've seen a lot of cycles where a real fundamental core AI product that is actually capable of doing human work, right, at scale and doing complete jobs. As we've deployed it and seen it, what most companies are doing with the savings that they're getting and with the huge gains is they're actually not going through and just cutting a whole bunch of people, right? What they're doing is they're saving a lot of money on costs, usually through like attrition.
Sure, yeah.
Like for example, a customer service group, somebody leaves, a lot of attrition comes down, but they're reinvesting that money back in to optimize their business and become more competitive. Very few of our customers, the story is not, we came in and they just saved all this money and that was the end of the story.
Yeah.
It's usually we save all this money, it's being reinvested and they're seeing record years in growth, 100% growth, like doubling of companies. That type of thing is what we're seeing. And most of their employees are just sort of shifting into those jobs.
Yeah.
On the growth side. So it's not as dire in our little world,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
It's not as dire as you might think because companies pivot pretty fast.
Yeah. No, and that's a great point too. I think if you go back and look at I don't know, I'm make a stupid example, like fax machines or something. Oh, it's going to destroy 1 million jobs and carriers. It never did, but every technology leads to new opportunities. That's kind of the way I look at it.
It does.
Yeah. So go ahead.
And I would also say that there's few technologies that have as much disruptive capability, right? And optimization at the speed. But to your point, I think you're right. And I think that's something that we're observing.
Yeah.
Is it just leads to more opportunity, more areas to go innovate and grow and win.
Yeah. And you touched on a key statement that kind of I don't think in our lifetimes we've seen anything as disruptive as this though.
No.
I mean, this is AI is a game changer from everything. Now, the one other caveat to this I think about too is what are the bad guys doing, right? They're using this as well. We get all these phony calls that sound like a human on the other side, and they can replicate voices. And one of the things it's in the news today is Savannah Guthrie, the host of NBC, CBS, whatever. Her mother got kidnapped.
Yeah,
and she came out and said that we need proof in this world of anyone can duplicate voices and pictures and audio and video. We need proof, and that's straight out of the AI playbook, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a little bit unfortunate,
Yeah.
right? Because with all of the wonderful opportunity and scale and all the great things, I mean, with our technology. Our technology will clone humans' voices, but the intention is take some of your best customer service people, some of your best appointment setters. Let's clone their voices and let's use those as a voice of the company to be able to go out there and represent the company and really designed to do good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But there are technologies and people will take that technology and they'll use it for bad. And so there's a constant, especially in like the cybersecurity world. And in the security world, there's this constant desire for the criminals, the bad guys, to be able to leverage technology like AI and then go to try to do more bad, right? But then there's also a much larger number of people that are trying to do good and do the right things and to create countermeasures. So I really believe that the good wins out because most companies and most individuals are working to protect people, help them grow their organizations, do the right things. And there's a lot more of those people and a lot more investment and a lot more of our talent that is on the good side. But there's certainly the nefarious side where people are leveraging AI, just like they've leveraged a lot of other tools to be able to cause harm and commit crimes and those things, which is why it's important to stay vigilant as we develop this and stay informed and and work to protect ourselves and our companies.
Yeah, so I was at your website before the call to look at what you guys do. You have like conversational AI. Am I understanding kind of what you do? And you have a number of different industries that you specialize in.
Yeah.
And you say you try to use voices that will replicate some of your support staff. Does the customer ever know that they're not talking to a person?
They do. They do, actually, and almost every time. And actually, sometimes it's good just to tell them
Yeah.
that they're actually working and talking with AI. And what our technology essentially does, right, in a nutshell, is it basically enables an AI agent, so like a digital worker, to be constructed and built to do the job of a human for things like, for example, if you call into a medical clinic and you need some eye care, you call into an optometry clinic, you call and say, I need to schedule an appointment to come and see the optometrist. The AI can have a conversation, do some validation to who they are as a patient, do some intake,
Sure.
collect some medical information, set an appointment, subsequently follow up and remind them of their appointment, answer questions, and then later on help to schedule follow-up appointments. Now, that is a process that all of us go through.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to kind of relate to
100%.
that type of
Yep.
scenario, right? And what the AI enables is it enables you to have like a friendly, engaging conversation, but at any time. So I don't know if you're like me, Polly, but sometimes I'm working till 7:30, 9 o'clock at night. I need to get an appointment scheduled, but I call and some companies are 9 to 4.
Yeah.
Like, I can never get in for an appointment. But if I can call at 12 o'clock at night, I can schedule that appointment and solve it, and I can book that appointment. That helps the clinic and it helps me.
Yeah, it's a win for everybody.
And yeah, it's a win for everybody. And if you can do it in a way where it's not annoying, like older phone systems where it's like, press 1 for this, press 2
Yeah.
for that, like it puts you in what I would call IVR hell. You're just stuck in this automated system. And then finally you get someone, but it's like an after hours answering service, who knows where.
Right.
You can barely understand each other. It's just like, that's just not a good experience. But when I can go in with an AI, call it understands me, sounds friendly, I talk, it understands, it accesses systems, it schedules appointments, it gets it done. It's twice as fast as a regular person, and it's just solved. That really helps
Yeah,
everyone.
and you can do it.
And that's what our tech is doing.
Yeah, you can do it at your convenience too.
Yeah, right.
Now, how do you,
Exactly.
now, and again, I looked quickly at, you're in a few different industries. How do you build that library, like of terminologies and things that are, just distinct for that type of industry, whether it be medical or construction or whatever the industry is?
It's really important. I think a lot. There's different types of products and different type of software and different types of solutions that people have, right? And I think there's a tendency of building a software or a technology for a specific purpose, and then going into companies and saying, this is the purpose, this is how you do it, this is what needs to be done, and never really taking the time to learn how those businesses actually operate, what the real problems and challenges are, and to be able to invest with your people and your products to be able to customize it and develop a solution that just fits really well.
Yeah.
And so what we've done as a company is we've had to get a little bit more personal in organizations than a lot of other scenarios might be. And I say personal because we're literally providing digital personnel
Yep.
that have to know the business. They have to be able to handle and represent the business as the business would represent themselves. We're providing like digital workers that have to be part of the company. So it's actually enabled us to get a lot deeper into certain types of organizations where things have caught fire. So, things like personal injury law firms, things like medical clinics, as we talked about, organizations like, for example, loan refinancing organizations. And when our workers go into those organizations, as digital workers, we have to basically teach, coach, provide, and program those AI to do what humans do. And they do, but we learn all the details. And so what we do is we try to take those details out and make sure that we use those to apply that feedback and that knowledge to how we configure the product, to how we do our marketing materials, to how we do our sales materials. We try to build it for scale to where we can train our sales teams to speak their language and really understand what they're trying to accomplish and talk to them like as if we know what we're doing, because we better if we're going to put digital workers in there. You know what I mean?
So do you ever
They're doing the job.
do you ever have any rogue digital workers? That
It can happen.
Well, like,
it can happen. I mean,
yeah, like in the movies, right? Like you see these computers that take over the world and they go rogue and start just morphing into something that they weren't designed for. That's kind of where I'm going with that. I'm kind of making it's a joke, but
yeah. No, it's actually a really good topic, because in the early days in building this type of AI, you have this concept in AI called hallucination. And what hallucination is this. So if you look at some of the common platforms like OpenAI, Gemini's, those types of platforms, what they are is they're the large language models that have a massive amount of data, right, Paulie, that they can access to be able to solve any question, any problem. And so you'll come up and say to the AI, hey, I need to solve for this, or this, or I need you to write me a paper, or I need you to write me a marketing set of material or something like that. And what they're actually programmed to do is to look at a vast amount of information, which sometimes is also conflicting. Everybody has opinions. Like even people that are scholars have different opinions on how certain things are in different theories. And so what the AI is doing is it's scanning through all that information. It's looking for the best match, and it's pulling up and it's using a generative concept to generate a set of content that is complete. And it has to do it at a speed that satisfies the user. And in communication, it's like really fast speed. Yeah. I have to be able to give you answers fast. So what happens is if the AI doesn't have all the answers, or it hasn't been able to scan through all the data fast enough, it makes it up.
Oh, wow.
And that's what you call hallucination. It makes it up. It is generative, and it's programmed to generate and spin up a story, essentially. So, in early days, you might have an AI that, or if you try to build it off of like a core platform, it'll do some funny things. Yeah. Like you could call a medical clinic, for example, and say, hey, I've got, this problem, and I'm going to be in the hospital. And then your AI might say, well, yeah, I'll come visit you there. Like, yeah, I can't visit you in a hospital, right? But those are types of things that have happened with certain AI. So what we've had to do is build over the years layers to protect and to control that.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, like, one of them is like thinning down the LLM. So putting the LLM down into more controllable chunks where it's focused on communication. Having a knowledge system that we can populate and control that says, this is your guide. Building controlled workflows that say, these are the things you can talk about, these are the things that you can't. So when we build them, you actually have to put a lot of fences around the creativity.
All right, that makes sense to me now.
AI,
okay.
So it doesn't go nuts, because it really can. And there's some things where there's been, you might have seen in the news, some AI sold a car for $4.70, and you have some AI somewhere that, is just giving everybody refunds, and those are things that have happened with some of the early people that have gotten into AI. And those are some of the problems that we've spent several years solving so we don't have things like that. It's not a good thing. Yeah.
No, all great points. What do you think the next iteration of AI will be? I mean, I feel like we're not quite at the infancy, but we're at this growth phase right now. And where do you think this is heading? What do you think the end game's going to be?
It's kind of looking at the macro and being in it and living it every day, and deploying these kinds of systems. Well, what I could tell you is it's really early on. I mean, this is like, I remember like in the early days of the internet, like you're getting on with like dial-up modems and AOL, and your emails are like, it was almost like you couldn't really function on the internet. It's really that early.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And what's happening right now is everyone is sort of just getting into generative AI, and there's a tremendous amount of learning that's going on as a macro economy and as a global economy. We are learning right now how to build AI tools, how to implement AI tools, how to leverage them. The executive vision is we want big gains, big, big hits, right? But as you notice, you don't go calling around to companies and all of a sudden AI is handling everything. Not yet.
No.
Right? Unless you're calling some of our clients, right? Like you're not getting to that point where it's a massive shift. Most companies haven't quite figured out, they figured out how to use ChatGPT or OpenAI, but they really haven't figured out how to get massive gains in most cases. Yeah. And so we're learning quickly as a macro economy, but a lot of organizations are just sort of starting and trying new things out. And you see all kinds of things. People trying to build things themselves. People are putting new on-premise architecture in their organizations for security. You've got all kinds of different initiatives going on. But what's incredible is almost everyone, literally hundreds of millions of people every day are interacting with AI, trying new things, have active projects, are testing, trying, and adapting. But the real big gains and the big scale is yet to really take hold. But in the next couple of years, it will take hold in a massive way, and you'll start seeing real disruption.
Yeah.
But it's all new,
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. I mean, I know our company, we're all talking about it internally and how we use it. But one of the big concerns we have is, we don't want to share our company data and get that out there for public consumption. And we're trying to figure out how to protect ourselves from having someone steal our data, And so I guess there's ways of having like an internal AI. Am I using the right terminology?
Yeah, that's a good point. So so with everybody trying new things and trying to test out new AI, what's happening is we're giving, one of the things a little bit scary is we're giving AI some unprecedented access to some very sensitive information and data. Even taking, for example, let's say you mentioned that you had worked at HP before. Let's say you have like enterprise servers that you're selling, and you have like an RFP template that says, here's all the capabilities of our servers and our specs and some data that you would usually protect with like an NDA. A lot of people are taking that data, they're just pasting it into a ChatGPT and saying, use this to answer these questions. And what we're doing is, in those cases, what people are doing is they're literally giving very sensitive proprietary data to an AI that's able to take it, consume it, learn it, and then use that to populate a document. But the information is out there. People are putting their IP, their ideas. Like people are putting in like stories. Like I have this idea of a book and a story that I want to write. That's my story, and they give it to the AI. And then other people will ask the AI, I want to get some good ideas on a story, and that same story is given to someone else, right? And if you think about that in a basic way, these public consumption environments are allowing AI to access data, and it is actually getting out of organizations, and it's becoming available in unsecure ways.
So how do you protect yourself against that, though?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the way you do that is, so for us, what we had to do is go through a process where we started sorting out and figuring out that if we're going to work with major insurers or major banks, or we're going to provide protected data, we have to be able to isolate the AI language model. We have to isolate the communication systems, the customer data, the call transcripts, the recordings, the AI summarization. We have to be able to isolate it into controlled environments. And what we've done is we build single tenant instances inside of Amazon that are built for each customer. And the LLM and all the technology necessary to run the AI is contained right inside that same container. We don't access third-party LLMs, right? And by doing that, we can use secure data access points, right, through APIs to people's data, to their CRMs and their data, to be able to give it to the AI to interact. But the data stays contained within the organization's control. And by doing that, we can meet all the security standards. And ours is more advanced because we've been doing it for longer and we've figured out how to do this safely, right? But other organizations are still trying to learn it. They're literally trying to create their own language models or take enterprise versions of them, put them on their own on-premise servers. Like I was on a panel and one major bank was talking about how they were doing that. They were building their own server infrastructure to try to protect their data, right? But regardless, as people are building and deploying AI, they just have to realize like this is really sensitive data. It's protected. It's regulated. There's real risk to consumers and your customers unless you are able to put it in an area where it's protected, secured, encrypted. You know, we have to kind of come back a little bit to the sane side of the fence. Instead of the excitement, we have to come back a little bit to sanity and grounding and use good fundamental IT and security principles to protect your data.
Yeah, like you said, the term used, put some guardrails on this, right? Like, so if I understand it correctly, there's like they can go out and get public information to use, but there's certain information that can never leave the platform. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct. Yeah. So yes, like in our platform, what you have is you have kind of the core language model, the database, the communication systems, the call recordings, all of the AI itself that's communicating with customers and collecting personal data. It's all housed in that secure environment, right? But if we need to go outside of that system to collect information, we can securely access a database, or we can retrieve public information from outside and bring it in to augment the conversation, right? And it's called retrieval augmented generation is what it's called. So you retrieve it to augment your knowledge and then generate an answer, right? That's what it is. And that's how we make sure that data is protected and that people are still getting the answers that they need, right? One of the things that's scary is a lot of AI products and a lot of AI companies, a lot of little startups or new initiatives and things like that, they haven't really gone through all the protocols and the infrastructural setup and configuration, because it's a real investment. You know, it takes a lot. They haven't done enough of that to actually have like a secure AI product. So a lot of what you see out there, everybody will say, yeah, it's secure, it's great, it's secure, regardless of the product. But they'll say
is it really though?
But it's really not. It's based on open source stuff, and they're working on it. But you'd be surprised that it's actually a little scary to see how much out there is. It's sort of just cobbled together, and we're just throwing it out to market. You know, it's a little scary.
I'm actually not surprised by that because, I mean, we're an IT consulting company. We have a cybersecurity division. So we're talking to customers all the time about security, and that subject comes up a lot. How do we keep our data private? How do we, and what you happen, a little bit of shadow IT, you get some people using ChatGPT, some people using Copilot that isn't sanctioned by the company, right? And so what do you do there? I mean, how do you get your arms wrapped around that without, and I don't think a lot of these people have any ill intent. It's just they're looking for answers, and they do use these platforms that are out there for public consumption without realizing that they probably could be doing the company some harm.
Yeah. And I really think it's sort of a genie that's come out of the bottle that's just really hard to put back in. But I do think a lot of IT and security teams are doing a lot of work to try to sort it out, figure out where their risk is. But I think we're probably at a level of risk we haven't been at in a long time, in terms of data and potential breach, just economically, right?
No, I would agree with that.
Which is why I think So it's people like vet vendors that they're working with AI. It's just important that they kind of get back to fundamentals and go through the right details to ensure that they're accurate.
It's funny. You've been in kind of software sales and technology for a while, as have I. And it's funny, probably 10, 15 years ago, if you ask someone, what their cybersecurity posture was, or do they have any budget for cybersecurity, they probably look at you and go, yeah, this year we're not going to be able to do anything, but maybe next year. And then it wasn't an issue until it was an issue, right? Then all the breaches started to happen. I mean, there's some really famous ones out there. And now every customer is talking about security. Everyone, without question, it's so high on their priority list because no one wants to get their name in the newspapers, right?
Oh, yeah, no way. And especially not when it's tied to rogue
Yeah,
AI. So
yeah,
that's definitely not what you want to do. So
yeah. It's a fascinating topic. Again, it'd be curious to see. I mean, things like self-driving cars and there's so much self-learning. We used to call it machine learning, right? Or it's kind of all the same thing where it self-learns and self-teaches and grows. And it'll be amazing to see, hopefully in our lifetime, where this takes us.
yeah. Well, and when you look into the future on where things are going, because it's so early, when you look into the future, I think what if you kind of zoom out on what's happening in the economy, you have companies like ConnexAI where we're building digital customer service, right? Where AI is literally performing all these jobs. You look at organizations like Tesla, where they're building their Optimus robot programs, which that AI is kind of rooted in the same AI that's doing the self-driving of
Yeah.
cars that can help navigate the Optimus bots. You have other organizations like NVIDIA that are building these massive AI data centers and essentially AI factories, they call them, where they're constructing these mechanisms. And what will be interesting is to see how all these technologies converge.
Sure, makes sense.
Because if you think of it this way, where let's say, let's take an example of, let's say I'm a pest control company, as an example, and somebody calls in and says, "Hey, I'm seeing bugs around my house. I need you to send a technician out right away to come and solve for it." And what happens is that the AI has a conversation and says, "Yeah, absolutely. Tell me what kind of bugs you're seeing. When did you see it?" They look up the file. Then the AI calls an Optimus bot and says, "Hey, this house needs to be given a treatment." And then the Optimus bot calls an autonomous taxi, right? That drives it to their house.
That's funny.
And the bot gets out of the car, does the pest control treatment, and using, human tools, right? Because we don't have any techs available, send the AI bot. And like you're having an artificial intelligence system that's full cycle servicing a client from both the digital interaction through the physical dispatch through departure. And we're not far away from that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, yeah, because our AI will take those calls now and dispatch technicians. Well, the Optimus bots, once they're deployed, they'll be able to operate a sprayer. And the autonomous taxis, you can see them in different companies that have already deployed them now. So just get a couple of utility versions and there you go. You're literally, you're there. So we're not even talking about a long time in lifetime. It's just about different parts and pieces starting to come together, and it changes the whole dynamic. Right?
It's funny that you say that about the pest control. We just got one of those dreamy floor washers and sweepers that learns your house. That thing is amazing. It can go under beds, and it just learns where all the obstacles are, and it's just amazing. There's so much intelligence. It's a super simple example, but it learns your whole house eventually, and knows when it goes on rug, knows when it's go. We got a couple little couple-inch ramps going into different rooms. It knows how to get up those now, get down those. It's just, and again, that's all just learned over time. So call it AI, call it machine learning, call it whatever you want to call it, but it's getting smarter.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I was kind of against it. My wife was the one to talk me into it, and when you see it work, it's an amazing thing, and it just, and you can set it to do a room, half a room, the whole house, and when it fills up with dust and dirt, it goes right back to the station, dumps the dirt, cleans itself, and then goes back out.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
That's
pretty cool
awesome
stuff.
It's very cool. Well, and with something like that, I mean, let me ask you that question, which is, what do you look forward to, or what do you think is going to be happening in terms of AI? Is this something you think is going to end well? You think it's going to be awesome? Do you think it's going to, be more of opportunity, or do you think there's more risk?
I'm optimistic about it. The thing I worry about all technology is taking away human interaction. Right. Yeah. So we're humans. Like I go to the gym
Yep.
every day. I don't go, well, I take that back. I go to work out and get in shape, but I'm at home all the time, most of the time. I go because I have my gym friends there and I get to see other human beings and high five and talk sports and whatever we want to talk about. And so that's my biggest fear about AI is that it's going to take every function out of our life from grocery shopping. I mean, heck, you can call Walmart and they'll have a robot come and drop it right in your driveway. You never have to leave your house. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like going to the grocery store, saying hello to people and I don't know, getting out of the house. That's my biggest fear is it's going to take all the human interaction out of our lives because we need it in our lives.
We do. I mean, it's like it's a makeup of like who we are. It's how we communicate.
Yeah.
It's how we learn is through story, through sharing experiences. I think we'd be much less complete people without it. I would say that, if I want to call and I want to get a question answered on my cell phone bill, or if I want to call and reschedule my flight, my preference there is just to get it done as fast as possible. And if I can talk to an AI that can do it in 4 times faster than a human and I don't have to wait and I can just talk boom, 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 like that's phenomenal. And what I'm hoping is that between all of those things, what happens is that as a society and as people, we just take more time to start working with each other, noticing each other, collaborating with each other, and leveling up our communication. We take away all of the monotonous and the simple. We move up to a different level of plane and deepen our relationships and work together in a better way. I actually think we will.
Yeah. You're an optimist.
But
You're an optimist. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we will. I do think that AI will then become a part of our, it'll be part of our common interaction. I think we'll probably come to rely on AI a lot. But there's just certain things it can't give, like the human connection. And I think we're going to seek it out.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think we'll have a little bit more time to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, like I said, that's my biggest concern is just it's going to drive for us. It's going to do construction for. They're already doing like 3D printed houses. I mean, where it's here. It's real.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So you and I still have a few more years left on this earth. So hopefully we'll be around to see kind of where. I mean, think about if 150 years ago, people that were around then fast forwarded to today, it would be like the Jetsons to them. That the old cartoon, the Jetsons.
For sure.
And we're going to, people in 150 years from now are going to, if they were, that are alive today that could fast forward, are going to think the same thing. I mean, technology is accelerating at such a rapid pace. It's going to be fascinating to see where it goes.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's going to go very far.
Yeah, so
I think hard to recognize.
Well,
cool.
Rusty, I think we covered a lot today. I really appreciate your opinions on AI because you're in the thick of it. That's what you guys do, and so you shed a lot of light on what's here today, what's going to happen in the future, or what you think may happen in the future. No one really knows, but it's a wide open playing field out there.
It's very cool. Well, I appreciate you having me, Paulie.
Oh,
it's great.
You're welcome, Rusty. And well, that's we'll end it on that note. This is Paul Delegro signing off for another edition of the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast.